social media nowadays, we hear specialists or professionals who don't have any regulation or who aren't accredited, who are telling women, you need to get this hormone test, you need to get these blood tests. And obviously, we need to know why we're doing blood tests. What's the reason? What does it affect? Does a test result affect how we're going to manage it? And the British Menopause Society actually came out with a recent guideline on the role of testing hormones in perimenopause and menopause. So the moral of the story is if you're over 45, you can expect your hormones to start fluctuating. So there's no need to get a blood test, which will depend on what day you do it to tell you, I'm probably perimenopausal, which you
So they're
know by
perhaps
age.
not as useful as people
Exactly,
might think.
exactly. Testing hormones as well doesn't tell you because that's a snapshot, whereas women's symptoms are much more helpful. How are my periods? How are my flashes, sweats, mood, sleep? That tells you a lot more information than a single blood test you do on one day. That's a quick snapshot. Um, in terms of under 40, because it's not typical, they would advise sometimes in those situations you would check hormones. But often we do blood tests to make sure that there's nothing else going on. So I'm not saying don't have blood tests. I'm just saying be aware of saying to your doctor, I need these hormone blood tests done.
So if blood tests aren't the answer for most women, you're encouraging people instead to track their symptoms.
Yeah.
Remind us about some of the most common, perhaps uncommon
Yeah.
symptoms when it comes
So
to menopause.
yeah, it varies, and it's like a whole body thing. So from flashes, sweats, classic women using a fan because they're so hot and overheated, to not being able to sleep, to mood, irritability, depression, anxiety. Then you get the other symptoms like vaginal symptoms, so dryness, feeling like you're constantly going to the toilet, you've got a urine infection. Most often it's actually not a urine infection or thrush. It's because your hormones are lacking and now the tissues down below are completely different. Um, Pain during or after sex. A lot of people, they just say, I don't feel like myself. There's something different. And my first question would be, what are your periods doing? And sometimes they'll say, oh, they've changed actually. They're shorter, they're longer, they're heavier, they're more irregular. So those are the main things. How are my periods and how are all these symptoms? And obviously there's an overlap with, could it be anemia? Could it be thyroid problems? Could it be diabetes? So I don't outrule general blood checkup, but I wouldn't say to a woman, you need to get your hormones checked.